Local support for News 6 has been provided by the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation, Bowling Green State University, and the members of WBGU-TV.
Hi! We're the 6th grade class of St. Peter and Paul, Ottawa, home of the Knights. Welcome to News 6.
Hi, I'm Matthew Lammers from St. Peter and Paul, Ottawa. Welcome to News 6. With today's first story, here's Kylie Lobenthal.
A few days ago, News 6 had the chance to talk with Fire Chief Bert Deemer. Lisa Deemer smokes out the story.
In his right hand, he carries a lantern. In his left arm, he carries a child he has rescued from the flames. Why are you a volunteer firefighter?
I'm a volunteer firefighter because I was invited to the fire station just as you are today to tour the station in 1959 by a fellow worker. At that time, I decided I wanted to be a fireman, and I asked for an application to join a department, volunteering my services to preserve life and property in the village of Ottawa.
Can you take us through the steps you go through after receiving a fire alarm?
All fire calls in Ottawa come into the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, where the dispatcher sets off the fire alarm, the siren, and also sends a message out over our radios, which each fireman carry in their pocket. Upon receiving the call, all firemen report to the fire station, secure their protective gear, boots, raincoat, helmets, and proceed to the fire.
What types of firefighting equipment do you have?
We have 3 pumpers, 1 100-foot aerial tower, 1 equipment truck, 1 tanker, a rescue unit that answers all wrecks in the area, and 1 brush buggy. And finally, we have 1 which we refer to as a parade truck, which is a 1941 Seagrave used for parades and fire prevention week.
What does the Firefighter's Monument signify?
The Fireman's Monument was built and erected to honor 2 volunteer firemen, Joe Krieger and John Hermiller, in the early 1920s. These 2 volunteer firemen lost their lives while fighting a fire and were electrocuted.
Today's News 6 is produced by the 6th grade class of St. Peter and Paul, Ottawa. Ottawa is located about 20 miles north of Lima. It was founded in 1834 and has a population of about 5,000.
This next story takes News 6 back to the 1800s to learn about house restoration. Melissa Hazelman has the story.
When was the house built?
Well, it was in the Putnam County Atlas in 1872, and it was the John F. Cover residence. In tracing the deed, I went back and the property was listed in 1864. I'd say roughly from the looks of the trees in the picture, it was probably late 1860s or early 1870s.
How did you start restoring this house?
And I had to go through and rewire a lot of the lights because a lot of the wiring was burnt, so I pigtailed a lot of it together to get enough so I could work on it at nights. And a lot of the plumbing I had to move over. It had an apartment on one side, and I took and moved the water heater all into one unit and changed some of the plumbing.
Can you tell us a little more about the house?
There's 2 rooms on the east side of the house that have parquet floors around the outside. There's also 6 fireplaces in the house. There's also a ballroom or an attic, which is about 30 by 30 feet. It also has a dumb waiter, which is like an elevator, which could raise things from the attic down to the basement. And also a few stained glass windows and a mixture of stained glass and leaded glass. It's got a large open staircase, which is mainly cherry. On the outside of the house, it's got a slate roof. It's also got 3 dormers with numerous windows jetting out of the attic. And it's got a nice railing with spindles all the way around.
Why are you restoring this house?
A couple years ago, I came across to where a neighbor of my parents had bought it, and I had the opportunity to purchase it. And the main reason is just for the historic value of the house, and I've always been interested in old houses, and I kind of like to tear things apart and put them back together, so I figure this project will keep me busy for a long time.
This week's Kids View question asked the 6th graders to decide if the United States should build a space station.
Hi, I'm Ryan Hall, and today's Kids View question is, should the U.S. build a space station?
I think the U.S. should build a space station because then we can learn more about space.
I think the U.S. should build a space station because if the world gets too overpopulated, some people may have to live on it.
I don't think the U.S. should build a space station because it might cost too much money.
Prehistoric planes and pins seems to about cover Brian Wise's talk with collector and student Damian Hermiller. News 6 takes a look.
That PT19.
Planes, pins, and dinosaurs. 3 things that make up an unusual collection. When did you start collecting planes, pins, and dinosaurs?
I started collecting pins and planes about at the same time. Like they started collecting about 2 or 3 years ago. And with planes, I always loved planes, so and I saw them and I got them for Christmas, and I got a booklet with it. So I just started collecting from there.
What types of planes do you have?
I have 4 different planes. One is the Flying Tiger. It was a fighter in World War II. I also have a World War II plane, which has 3 wings, and it's called a Fokker triplane. Another one is the Air Cobra, which is an American World War II fighter plane. The last plane is a PT-19, which was an American fighter.
Where did you get your pins?
I got them all at different places. I got a P-38 Lightning, which is World War II American fighter plane. I got a Bald Eagle, which is from a Kenton coon dog trial. And I got a Tin Goose, which was used to fly people back and forth from Put-in Bay in Lake Erie.
That's all for this week's show. Thank you for tuning in and join us next week with Hallgate Elementary Visits News 6.
Local support for News 6 has been provided by the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation, Bowling Green State University, and the members of WBGU-TV.